Welcome guys to Football Cruise on Naija Footballers TV. The World Cup is still on and we are down to just 4 teams. I mean, the drama still goes on, the controversies still going on, but I mean, what a spectacle we've been enjoying so far. For some, the World Cup in Qatar is the best World Cup they've experienced so far, and I feel for majority of us here in the studio today, I think it's going down as one of the best World Cups so far. Guys, welcome again to Football Cruise. I have my guys with me in the studio. First off, Shegun is back on the show, back like he never left. Shegun, how are you doing?
Very good, very good, very good.
Quick one, if they could have asked you at the beginning of the World Cup, France, Morocco, Argentina, and who was the fourth team again? Croatia. Would you have predicted this 4 team to go all the way to the semi-final?
No, just 2 out of those 4.
So who are the 2?
The usual norms: France and what's the name? Argentina. Yeah.
So you didn't see Morocco coming?
No,
you didn't see
not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
So were you expecting these 4 teams to get to the semi-final?
Obviously not. Absolutely, it's just it shows how the World Cup has gone so far. That we have literally half of the 4 semi-finalists. They are underdogs, and it just shows how much Croatia have worked hard to be here, and they were also finalists at the last World Cup and then semi-final again. So it shows their resilience and how hard they worked to get back to this level. And also Morocco is the first African team to get to the semi-final, as well as the first Arab country as well. So it's just it just shows the level that football has got to this year. Like you said, the best World Cup so far, that we have so many exciting teams that we didn't expect to get to this level that have got here, and happy days for football fans.
All right, guys, Morocco has been one of the major talking points in the World Cup in Qatar so far. But what have they done right so far in Qatar? Myself and the guys will talk about this after this break on the show. Don't go anywhere. It is still Football Cruise on Naija Footballers TV. Welcome back, guys. It is still Football Cruise on Naija Footballers TV. Now, guys, let's get in on the show. Shogun, let me start with you. I mean, Morocco, their run to the semi-final has been, massive. Look at the teams they've knocked out on their way to the semi-finals. Belgium, top teams in Spain and the likes.
Yeah.
But what can you say about Morocco so far in this tournament? What have they done right? And summarize this Moroccan team so far in Qatar.
All right, so for me, coming into this tournament, I've always known Morocco to be a team that they've been very decent. They've been able to mix this blend of most of their players as foreign-based players, and they've been able to attract the best, not even average foreign players. They've been able to attract very good foreign players into their squad, and you could see that from from the last World Cup, you could have seen that momentum into the AFCON that they lost on penalties to Egypt, and down to this. So I would say I'm surprised where they are currently, but still I'm not really surprised. When you invest in football and when you are intentional about building football, you would most likely get results. So Morocco has been a team whereby they've you would see that their administration, down to the way they operate their football, even down to their clubs. I think currently one of their clubs is the CAF Confederations Cup. They are currently their female team also. They are the CAF Confederations Cup for female also. So you could see there has been growth over the years, and they have been intentional about growth. So coming into these tournaments with the blend of players they have been able to be to show that courage, and you could see that they don't fear. There's nothing like fear, like they are sitting back against. They know how to what do they call it? They know how to show up as at when due. They know how to defend. They know how to attack. And I think their coach has been with this team for how many months? 3 months, I think.
Just over 80 days.
Yeah, just over 80 days. And he was a former CAF Confederations Cup winner. And he has been able to instill his ideas into this team in less than how many days that he has been with them. So all in all, Morocco has just been that team that they have shown tenacity, they have shown fight, and they have shown that they are not scared of getting to that top. Normally, African teams are when they face European teams or South American teams, you could see that fear factor in African teams. You could see that nervousness. But this is a team that they've only considered just 1 goal with this tournament. Their defense has been super solid. They have been a very compact team that you can't break them down easily, and they have been a team that they know they've played to instruction. You could see from game 1 to this last game that they played, they were playing completely to the coach's instruction, which is this: attack as a unit, defend as a unit, and play a lot in the mid block. That's you could see how compact here in the middle of the pitch. The likes of Inain, Nordin, Amrabat. You could see how compact they were. They know when to attack, they know when to defend. So all in all, I just see Morocco as that team that they understand what the coach wants and they are completely playing to that coach's instruction. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get to the finals.
I mean, you know, brilliant one from you there. You talked about the coach. I mean, it's just, should I say, coincidental. It's the first time all African team going to the World Cup, you know, took indigenous coach, and I mean Regago is one of them, and is, you know, in the semi-final, less than 10 games in charge of the national team, and now they are in the semi-finals. You know, but do you think their achievement is overflogged or kind of a one-off? I know everybody, I mean, we are basking in the euphoria of Morocco's, you know, their brilliance so far in Qatar, but do you think we are, you know, kind of overflogging it or something like that?
It's not overflogged. It's not even a surprise really, because like Shegun has outlined, they are the current holders of the CAF Champions League for male and women and female club teams, and you know, it's not really a surprise because now that the first African side to go 5 games unbeaten, that the third semi-finalists not from UEFA or CONMEBOL, and it's been a process of, you know, developing their football. Like Shegun also said, they were the best, I mean, in terms of what they were playing on the pitch, their football on the pitch, they were the best African side in 2018 World Cup. And now they finished up in a group ahead of Croatia and Belgium. They beat Spain, beat Portugal on the way to get into the semi-final, and like we all know, they're the first African team to get to the World Cup semi-final. But it's not a surprise because in the last 4 years they invested $20 million in their female team alone, in women's football alone, and as a result of that, we saw that their women's national team got football alone. That shows you how these people are intentional. Their women's national team got to their very first ever WAFCON final this year. They also made their first World Cup ever, women's World Cup ever. And you know, it's just that constant development. As the women's team is developing, the male team is also developing. They've invested in their training complex over the last few years, as we spent a lot of money on the complex, and you know, we can see the results of that, of the world-class coaching, the facilities that the players have in place, and the fact that no African teams actually, you know, take that approach to football, in the sense that, you know, you have a centralized way of developing your football. You basically have an academy of football in Morocco now, where a national academy where players from all over the country, from different ages, down from children in schools, you know, where they're allowed to play football and develop their skills, up to the national teams. You know, the facilities are there, the pitches are there, world-class coaching. The coaches are also exposed to facilities that help them
to host other matches for other African countries as well.
Exactly. So it's just Moroccan football right now is at the top of African football, and it's showing at the world stage, and rightly so. These players have become legends. You know, we'll talk about these results for years to come, regardless of what happens in the rest of the tournament. That the first African team in a very long time to actually top a World Cup group, which is a big achievement. So it says a lot about how much they've come in. The fact that it's not an accident, and the fact that they actually have a lot of world-class players that they've been able to depend on, the likes of Hakimi, the likes of Ziyech, Amrabat, Mazraoui, different kinds of players that are actually decent on the world stage outside African football. So it's just a combination of everything coming together, working for them, and it's not just a coincidence. And I think African teams need to actually take a cue from the Moroccans now, because we can see that there's a pathway, there's a certain blueprint now for African teams.
Exactly.
The problems we always have is organization. The problems we have is government interference. But we have Morocco where the federation and the government are actually working hand in hand for their football to grow. And it's just a blueprint for African teams. I'm looking forward to the next African teams that actually follow this system now, because this is what we need to do actually. This is actually the problem of our own Super Eagles. The fact that they don't have the perfect, the best training facilities, they don't have their own base and all those things. If we can work on these things, we can actually get better. This is actually what our football needs. So I mean, the Moroccans, they just become an example for African football now. You know, talking about being an example for African football, you talked about the Super Eagles. I mean, there's a lot for other African teams to learn from this Moroccan side. You know, Shegun, for you, how do you think we can, you know, replicate these exploits? I mean, Bula said a lot. You know, talk about, you know, governments and the FA being working hand in hand to help the football develop, which we don't have currently. You know, when it comes to Nigerian football and the Super Eagles. But you know, what other things do you think the Super Eagles can learn from this Moroccan team and what they've done so far?
So I've been a Super Eagles fan for so many years. I started watching the Super Eagles standard solid from 2002. And I watched a bit of the 99 World Cup, but I would lie if I say I can remember that World Cup. But 2002, I started watching Nigeria. And since 2002 till date, I can't say Nigeria has a football project. We've never had a football project. We've just been the rush, scattergun approach. We've never had a project of we are going to schools to develop young talents. We are going to attract the best diaspora talents we have abroad. We are going to build stadiums. There has never been a template. We have never had a blueprint. We have never had a project. And if you don't have a project, you cannot build infrastructure on something that there's no template on.
But we have the talent. Yeah.
We have the talents. But the problem is, if there's no projects, if there's no infrastructure, if there's no blueprints, those talents that we have, there's nothing for them to grow on. There's not. So blueprint becomes like a foundation you are building a house. So once you have a foundation, then you can build the whole structure on that foundation. But Nigeria, we don't have a blueprint. We don't even know what the NFF wants to achieve in the next 10 years. We don't know where they are heading. There's no even this constant communication between the football body and Nigerians. We don't know where they are heading. So if you see this Moroccan team, right from 2018 that I started noticing this team, I noticed that they have a project which is, they are trying to attract the best diaspora talents, and in their own ground, they are trying to build infrastructures that these foreign talents, when they come in, they don't feel, there's something lacking. It's in Nigeria that you hear we owe our coaches 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months salaries. Is in Nigeria you hear we are having issues with mad bonuses, but over there you would know that these guys, as much as we can say the thing that really helped Morocco, and truth be told, is this foreign base that really, I think there are 14 or 15 foreign base players in their squad, and it's really showing forth that these are the guys that are driving this thing. We could give that excuse, but at the end of the day, for you to attract a foreign base player that had an opportunity to play for another European nation, you must have done something in your own ground. You must have done homework in your own ground. You must have built infrastructures. You must have built stadiums. You must have built maybe hotels. You must have built training grounds that could allow these guys come in and feel interested. We've been chasing Eze for how many years? We've been chasing Olise. We've been chasing all of these guys, and there's just something that these guys are not being convinced about. That's why we have still not been able to capture them till date. But Ziyech had an opportunity to play for Netherlands. Hakimi had an opportunity to play for another club. All of these guys, Bono could have waited because Bono is actually on form. All of these guys had lots of opportunities to play, but because of Morocco had a football project, a football team.
We've been able to pull some of our foreign players.
Yeah, we've been able to pull some,
so.
but you would realize that at the end of the day, when these guys come in, you could see from their body language that they are not still satisfied with what they are seeing on ground. We don't have like a training pitch for the Super Eagles. We don't have like a hotel where the Super Eagles come in. They come into a hotel and suits, and the whole place is flooded like a market ground. You could see that sometimes they train at the back of a hotel and suits where you are seeing lots of people. So that lots of distraction, all of these things would also affect our football, because before they even go into the pitch, there's already off the pitch distraction. So how do you expect these guys to even really give their optimum best on the pitch? So all of these things, the summary of this, my long talk is just, once you have a football project, you can now build infrastructure on those projects, and I think that is where Nigeria needs to learn from.
You're talking about distractions, Eko Hotel, and all. I mean, this Moroccan team, a lot have been said about them, bringing their families, and their families are with them in camp. There's this togetherness with their families, even on the pitch. And after the match, you see players dancing with their mom. We've seen that with Buffal.
Sure.
We've seen that with Hakimi.
Yeah.
Now you were saying, distractions.
Yeah.
But is it not a distraction for the? I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So because if we do this in Nigeria, a lot of quite a number of people say, why distract these people in camp, bring their family members to camp. But I mean, this is one thing the Moroccans are doing as well.
Yeah. So
what's the difference we're all doing?
So here's the distraction I'm talking about. So if you look at the Nigerian national team, when they get to a hotel and suits, the whole of Nigeria is literally at a hotel and suits.
Fair enough.
The whole of the nation is there, and they are taking pictures with these boys. This give us money, sort me. All of these things that we do in our Nigerian culture. There's no there's no camp whereby I see the Les Blues.
Okay, for Morocco now, it's a camp strictly for the players.
Exactly. It's a camp strictly for the player. A base whereby they are there, only them. If they can now bring their families, fine. But not the whole of Nigeria or the whole of Morocco coming to there and coming to take pictures, coming to sort me, Oga, this, I sabi you. Some people bring pictures of the players they snap. I drew you, come and take a picture. All of those off-field distractions. There are so many. The politics also, so many. You would see the NFF president jumping in from halftime to talk to this. All of those unnecessary drama, you could see it in the Nigerian space, and those are the part of the things. I follow Spain. I follow this French team and lots of teams. I see when they are going to camp. Well. Most of them, they have their hotel specially for them. They don't leave that hotel, and people cannot come in, maybe except their family members. But Nigeria here, we don't even have any place that we can even call a home for our players. And you want these players to perform optimally. You owe them. You owe their coaches. All of this off-field distraction. You have to take it off to get results on the pitch. That's my point.
While you were talking about bonus, I saw a story of Ziyech, giving out his bonuses and all that. While we are struggling, our players are struggling to get their bonus. These guys are giving them out. Well, finally on this, before we preview their semi-final fixture, Buffon made headlines. Even though he came out to apologize, about he's dedicated their quarterfinal victory. Or was it the round of 16 victory to the Arab nation, to the Moroccans, and he excluded Africa? Then maybe later realized he came out to apologize. But it caused a lot of controversies online. Africans were annoyed that they were going to give their support to Portugal. But were you bothered, Bolu? Were you bothered about it? Do you think these guys have always, that's how it has been for them and stuff like that?
Well, it's not really a surprise because even in the international community, they are classified as Arabs, and it's we the really black ones the black Africans that are known as Africans, even in the international space. So they don't classify Arabs as African Arab, but if you are from an Islamic country, you're just Arab, and that's the way they've always been. So I think that's the context that before I was speaking in, that for the Arab nation. But then geographically, they're still Africans. Yeah, they got that World Cup ticket as an African country. They got there as one of the 5 African teams, and now it's even good for African football what they've done, because it sheds more light on African football. It shows the amount of the amount of potential that African football has with the proper investment and organization. And I think this is a watershed moment in African football, because it's going to open up a lot of opportunities, not just for Africans but for Arabs as well, the minority countries, the Palestinians, the Afghanistans, all those other countries. Everyone is so happy for them because it opens up a lot of opportunities for them. Like I said earlier, that just the third country that is not from UEFA or CONMEBOL to make it to the World Cup semi-final. It is a very, very seismic victory for them. And the last country not from CONMEBOL or UEFA to actually make it to World Cup semi-final was in 2002. That was South Korea. Yeah. And before that was a long time ago. 1982 as well. I think that was also Algeria in 1982. So these things only come in decades, and it is a very special moment that African football actually needs to learn a lot of lessons from, and a lot of investment also has to come. Hopefully it opens up a lot of investment opportunities as well for African football.
Shogo, I don't know if you have anything to say. I think if they want to, like you said, they qualified as an African nation. Yeah. But if on the long run, they want to change federations, switch from Africa, they are free to do it. But as long as it's the World Cup, we'll still support them as African, because this thing has happened. Definitely. Australia recently, they switched to Asia. Israel too, before they switched to Europe. I think they were under Asia at some point. So these things happen. Yeah, sure. But does it change the support for Morocco in this one?
No, not really. I was shocked by that comment, but I always knew Morocco as an Arab, like they are part of the Arab nation. So I wasn't surprised. They identify more as Arabs than Africans, and it's fine. They are still here geographically. They cannot lift that space and say,
out of Africa.
Nah, they are still here. So we give them their support, and this success so far in the World Cup is really going to open them up to lots of opportunities. I heard as of yesterday the amount that FIFA is going to give them for this, converting to naira. Someone was telling me it's around 11 billion naira. Yeah, do you know what 11 billion naira can do for a nation when it comes to football? Can boost.
And as far as Morocco is concerned, you can tell they're still going to invest that.
They're still going to invest it. They are not some nations that let's you know what I'm talking about, where snakes swallow money, all those things. They are still going to invest all of those things. And the beautiful part is this: they are still going to attract more foreign-based players. So it's a win-win-win approach for these guys. This is what you do when you invest in football. You get results. It might be a systemic approach. It might not be at once, but it will be a gradual phase. And over time, you get results in this thing. Now, foreign-based players, they are lining up. The likes of Adli that plays for Milan is Moroccan. The likes of this guy Ilyas Akomac, one of the best talents in La Masia, is Moroccan. The likes of Shadiraid is also a Barca youth. He played he made his debut last game. He's also Moroccan and is still 19. So the crux of this team is kind of young, but they still have very good young talents that are still coming up that can join this field. So over the years, these guys are going to be a real big force in Africa, and this is what you get when you invest in football. I
mean, for a team closer to Europe as well, I mean, you can't take nothing away from them. I love what Gabi came out to say. You know, he didn't come out like Buffal. He dedicated the win to Africa. I said they are here for the African continent as well. Yeah. You know, that tells you the mindset of the manager, and I mean, you have to credit him for the job he's done so far, and hopefully they go all the way. And talking about Morocco going all the way, they've been paired against France in the semi-final. Another European country with black Africans. Yeah. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. Well, I mean, what's going to come out from that game? Guys, we're going to quick break. After this break, we'll preview that game quickly. It's still Football Cruise. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. It is still Football Cruise on Naija Footballers TV. It's been quite a while on the show, but just before we wrap up, let's preview that quarterfinal game. Of course, we have Argentina against Croatia, but Morocco is our main focus here. Now, France are on a mission. Yeah. I mean, they've been, you know, arguably one of the best teams so far in this tournament. They want to defend their title. Croatia is also their last World Cup finalist as well. You know, so a lot at stake for these respective four teams. I mean, Messi on his way to win his first World Cup as well. But Morocco, France, do you think it's going to be the end of the road for Morocco?
I'm tipping them to get to the finals. I still see them winning the semi-final tie.
France is going to be their, no disrespect to Ronaldo, Portugal, but France is going to be their biggest upset. If you get past France, biggest upset.
I agree. France is like the best team, like man for man, this competition. They have a complete first 11, super squad. But I still see them, if they stick to that, to the way they've been playing for the past 6 games, I think they will still get a result over France. The French team, over time, they will keep on pushing. But if this Moroccan team remain resolute as they have been in their first 6 games, one way or the other, the luck might just smile on them, and they might just get I'm predicting a very slim 1-0 win
for Morocco.
Yeah, for Morocco, 1-0 win.
Just like the quarterfinal.
Exactly, just a slim 1-0 win. France will play their destiny away, but Morocco gets the result. But one thing again, they lose in the final. It's a Messi.
Bully for you. Do you see any weakness in this French side that Morocco can exploit for them to get one over France in that fixture?
It's quite a dicey game because Morocco have been very pragmatic at this tournament, but France are also notoriously pragmatic, like we saw in the game against England. So it's a battle of worlds, really, of the same world, really, because you know Morocco are very, very tight defensively, but France also know how to defend. But then the problem is France have considered the number of goals at this tournament, so you always fancy Morocco being able to score a goal. But now my personal fear with the Morocco team is their last 2 games ended with extra time. We saw a lot of their key players falling down injured. I don't know if Saiss will be fit for this game. His centre back partner, okay, he might try to slow down, but we don't know if he'll be able to complete.
Mazraoui as well, is he going to be back?
Mazraoui, will he be back again? Centre back, Saiss's centre back partner is also injured, so we don't know. And Ziyech also couldn't complete the last game, so you know it's getting to that point. It even seems that Kimmich has been struggling because in the last game he didn't attack as much. As he would like.
Confirmed that
they reduced his running forward because it seems he's struggling with some muscular injuries. So it's getting to that point where would they be able to withstand? So I just feel like it's the kind of game where it could just easily get to extra time with both teams struggling to, trying to break each other down, but not really putting so much into it because of the pragmatism. And I think it might be the kind of game that goes into extra time and might just be decided by a very little detail. Might be 1-0, like Shegun said, might be on penalties. But I really fear for the Morocco team because of the number of key players that were not sure of their fitness. And against France, you need your best players. You need them to be at their very best. But I know that regardless of the Morocco team that plays that game, they they will take the game to France. It's going to be a very tough game for any of them.
So, in a nutshell, do you think it's going to be the end of the road for Morocco against France?
I think France is going to find a way to win eventually. It might be on penalties. It might be 1-0. It might be 2-1 or whatever. I think France they have the extra bit in them to get past Morocco.
All right, for me, I love histories. We've seen it so far this World Cup. I mean, they've already made history, but if they get to the final, I would really love Morocco to get to the final. I don't think they're going to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
But if they get to the final, I mean, the whole of Africa is going to be happy.
So African players who play in the World Cup final, France or Morocco players, they have a lot of African players. So
And again,
Africa will get to the final.
and again for this World Cup, yalla anybody
can beat it.
can beat it. So let's go there.
All right, if you ask me, I think France is going to be the end of the road for Morocco. But we're open for surprises. We're open for shockers, and hopefully Morocco gives us another surprise, the biggest in the tournament so far against France in that semi-final. Guys, with that, it's a wrap on the show today. We trust it's been a fantastic ride on the show for you, the viewers, and for you, the subscribers on our various social media platforms. Don't forget to still and always keep it up with us across all our platforms on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notification for the best of Nigerian football content. It's been wonderful on the show with you, Shegun. Good to have you back. And hopefully see you more often on the show.
Definitely, always great to be here every time.
Bolu, the only constant man on the show, and hopefully we get to see you again on the show as well.
Of course, I would always be here again.
All right, guys, with that, it's a wrap. My name is Emmanuel Sebastian. It's been wonderful with Shegun and Bolu. Till we come away again next time, keep cruising.